I'm back from New Hampshire. I will have interviews from voters in New Hampshire that I did last night for you a little bit later today. The big news on the Democratic side, if you haven't heard, Bernie Sanders has won by a lot the second primary election in New Hampshire. Of course, marginally losing by a very small amount in Iowa to Hillary Clinton. And now we have amazing results from New Hampshire to share with you. A significant defeat against Hillary Clinton. We will talk about it in context, but first let's look just at the numbers from yesterday and compare them to the polling numbers that we had going in. Bernie Sanders coming away yesterday with a 60 to about 38 win over Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders besting Hillary Clinton by just under 22 percentage points. Now, how did this compare with the polling going in? Well, the Real Clear Politics average of polls going in had Bernie Sanders at 54% and Hillary Clinton at 41%. So while Bernie Sanders was projected to win New Hampshire by 13 percentage points, he overperformed the polls by 8.3% and coming away with nearly a 22 percentage point victory. In Iowa, Bernie Sanders also overperformed the polls by 4.6%. So what can we take away from this election, Lewis? We can't take away, as I told you yesterday, that Bernie Sanders is going to be the Democratic nominee, because as we know, dating back 50 years, the new winner of the Democratic New Hampshire primary is only the nominee just over 50% of the time. So we can't say that right now. We also can't say that Bernie Sanders is going to come away with a victory in the upcoming primaries in Nevada and South Carolina. What we can say is that in the two primaries we have had so far, caucus and primary in Iowa and New Hampshire respectively, Bernie Sanders' support has been understated by the polls going into the primaries. And that is the most important takeaway, Lewis. As we look now at the polling coming out of Nevada and South Carolina, we have to remember that Bernie Sanders has been getting more support than what the polls have said. And that's a really important thing.
Yes, I guess there's also something to be said about New Hampshire voters, and that is that they seem to not decide who they're voting for until the day of voting or the day before.
Yeah, a lot of people we talked to saying, I decided today or yesterday, which was interesting. And in spite of that, Bernie Sanders winning handily among just about every group. Let's take a look at the different categories and cross sections where Bernie Sanders did really well yesterday. Bernie Sanders won among both men and women. Bernie Sanders defeated Hillary Clinton among all age groups except those over 65 years of age. Bernie Sanders won among all education groups, going to people who have not even graduated high school to people who have advanced degrees. And Bernie Sanders won among all income groups except those making over $200,000 a year. I cannot forget this key point. In spite of the fact Bernie Sanders trounced Hillary Clinton in yesterday's primary in New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton will reportedly still come away with more delegates because there are 32 total delegates in New Hampshire. 24 of these are pledged delegates based on the results of the primary. There are 8 unpledged superdelegates. And based on those expectations, we expect, Lewis, that Hillary Clinton will still get more delegates out of New Hampshire than Bernie Sanders in spite of losing by 22 percentage points. Maybe the super delegate system is broken.
Broken. It's as if it ever made sense in the first place.
Right.
I mean, why does it exist? You can tell me historically why it exists, and that's irrelevant today. So we need to do away with it. I mean, I think we probably both agree that we should do away with the electoral college system as well.
There are really strong arguments for doing away with the electoral college, and we've talked about them before, and we will again between now and the eventual general election.